I tried doing this video on 2 different occasions. One truck would be available, then the other one would sell, and vice versa. Today, I have the highest trim levels from GMC and Ford in the midsize segment. I borrowed these trucks from Jerry Seiner, Buick GMC in South Jordan, Utah, and Larry H. Miller Super Ford in Salt Lake City. Both of these trucks are available. Let's go ahead and check out the window stickers so you guys can see pricing on these builds. Up first is the Ranger. This is the cheaper of the 2. At the very top is the description, and then here is a short listing of the standard equipment. Down below is the options. Now this one does have the 500A equipment group, and here are all the options. So this one has the FX4 off-road package, gives it an off-road tuned suspension, 373 blocker, and then it also has the advanced towing package, floor liners, and then a few other things down there. Now for this truck, base price is $47,165. Destination comes in at $15,995 with a total price of $51,250. And then here are the fuel economy numbers. Here's the GMC. At the very top is the description with the colors and short listing of the standard equipment. Be sure to pause it. And base price comes in at $51,000. Now, as far as the options go, you have the trailering equipment package. The red paint was an extra charge, underbody cameras, and an upgraded alternator. Destination comes in at $15,995 with a total price of $54,555. And here are the fuel economy numbers. When you consider the base price, the GMC Canyon Denali is $3,835 more expensive over the Ford Ranger Lariat. Now, let's kind of go through the front ends, but we're going to start off with the lighting because I want you guys to see some of it illuminated. Here's a side-by-side with the turn signals on, starting with the Ford. Dual projector and fog lights are LED. And then here is the GMC, all LED. And these are basically a switchback here. Here are the side markers for both trucks. Mirrors, none on the GMC, but you do have side markers on the back. And these are going to be a mixture of LED and incandescent bulbs, and same thing goes for the GMC. Last thing to note, LED license plate lights for the Ranger, incandescent bulbs for the GMC. Starting off on the GMC, this truck looks pretty mean. It does have a off-road look standard. Now you guys can see that on that front bumper. You see how you have that cutout right there? It's going to give you a better approach angle. They do give you a silver accent with your recovery hooks down below. And the front end looks pretty mean as well. A little bit of chrome on that grille and black accents on the outline of it. There is a camera up front. And then check out the hood design too. Ford does have more of a traditional styling here. Is a more basic look, and that's not a bad thing because when you think about the headlight design, it does look really nice. Has that premium look more or less. Front parking sensors do come standard, and they don't skimp out. They do give you one on the side, so if you do pull up in the garage, it should alert you if you get too close to the side of there. I do see the active grille shutters, and that is something available or standard on that GMC too. And as you guys see down below, recovery loops. All this is finished in plastic, but check out these big skid plates down below, and they go pretty far back. As far as the GMC goes, they do give you some skid plates on this premium trim level, and if you want better ones, they're available pretty much on this truck. But I would say with the wide body stance and the 2-inch factory lift that you get on that GMC, it does look a little bit more beefed up compared to the Ford. Like, you can pretty much tell it sits a little bit higher, and the Ford does have an off-road package too. Now that's only going to really give you a more off-road tuned suspension, off-road tires, but otherwise it still looks to be about the same ride height. But I'm sure most of you guys notice the GMC does not have front parking sensors, and even worse, they're not even available, which I think is a big deal at this price point. If you're gonna spend 50 grand on a mid-size pickup truck, they should have front parking sensors. But as far as the tire and wheel setup goes, you guys can see that Ford here are the GMCs. Now this is a 20-inch wheel here, and they are wrapped in a Bridgestone Dueler AT tire. Here is the tire size. It's going to be 275 60 20, 6 lug, and then here is that Ford again. These are going to be a Goodyear Wrangler Territory ATS 255 65 18. Now when it's all said and done, you can clearly see the height difference on these tires. Now if you want the exact numbers, the GM is a true 33-inch tall tire and is 10.8 inches wide. Ford is actually going to be 31.1 inches tall and about 10 inches wide. So you can clearly see the girth on the GMC for sure. Let's talk about the suspension really quickly. The GMC does have dual wishbone, and you guys can see those control arms are finished in steel. However, the steer knuckle is aluminum, coilover setup, and notice how they connected that shock absorber to that lower control arm. Pretty interesting right there. Now as far as the Ford goes, I think I like this one better because they give you upper and lower control arms finished in aluminum, so you still have that dual wishbone setup, and they have the same design for that shock absorber, how they connected it to that lower control arm there. Now their steer knuckle, hope you guys can see, that is finished in aluminum, coilover setup, and they both have the E-coating on the frames too. Now if I had to pick a winner there, I think it has to be Ford because I like the lighter suspension components that they're using there, and they have a fabric material for the wheel liner on both sides. Now as I said, you have that wider body stance on the GMC. They do give you fender flares on both sides. However, the ones on the Ford are painted compared to the GMCs. Both trucks have the running boards. They are optional for the Ford, but standard on the Denali. Cameras are right here. Chrome and more painted trimming. They don't give you a lot of chrome on the Ford, so I think the Ford definitely is going to be more desirable. Even on the door handles, you see GMC gives you chrome. They're painted on the Ford. Smart key system on the front doors. You have to push this button to lock and unlock. On the Ford, they do have it a little differently. You push here to lock, and you swipe your hand in the door handle to unlock. I think I like this better, personally. 21.5 gallon fuel tank, 18.8 gallon fuel tank, more fender flares out back. They do give you clearance lights front rear on the GMC, however. And on the suspension out back, you have 2 leafs in the main pack there, shock absorbers, and then you guys notice plastic liner right there. Fabric material on the GMC, which is better in my opinion. And check out the leaf pack. You have 4 leaves in the main pack there, which is a little bit better and looks more robust for sure. Now you guys see here, these are optional on the Ford Ranger. They give you these steps built into the rear. They come standard on the GMCs. Out back, both trucks have some nice advantages. Starting with the Ford, Class 4 hitch. Believe it or not, these are optional in some cases on these trucks, so you have to make sure you get those trailering packages. 7 and 4 pin, rear parking sensors, backup camera, and there is a light that shines down below for your conventional hitch if you're hooking up at night. This is going to be assisted, and this is kind of like a workbench. They give you a 12 volt plug and a 120 volt plug. Bed lights come standard, and they give you 6 tie downs, 3 on each side. No spray in comes standard, however. On the Canyon, you do have the hitch down below, 4 and 7 pin, backup camera, and this is locked. Hold on one second. I figure this is a good time to show you the keys. You do not have a tailgate release on neither truck, but they both have remote start. Here's the GMC, then here is the Ford. Now let's go ahead and unlock the tailgate. So it is going to be assisted. Okay. Also, this truck does have, oh wow, it was left open, but you do have storage built in to this tailgate right here. Really nice feature to have, and it has the spray and bed liner standard. You have 400 watts of power right there, and then this one has 8 tie downs in total, 4 on each side, and they do stamp Denali there. On the GMC, they do give you a full-size spare, but it's not a matching wheel, and it's an off-road tire, which is nice. Now, as far as that rear axle goes, it's going to be a 342 rear end, and it is going to be an automatic locker. On the Ford, it looks to be a off-road tire that they give you, but it's not matching at all. And on that rear, it does have an optional electronic locker, 373 axle ratio out back. If I did this video earlier in the year, then the GMC would have won hands down. But now, if you do decide to order a Ford Ranger, you do have a second engine option available, which is the 2.7 liter V6 EcoBoost. Now let's talk about what's in this truck right now. This is going to be the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged EcoBoost. It's going to have 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. All that power does go through a 10-speed transmission. GMC has a 2.7 liter displacement 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. This is going to have 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. All that power goes through an 8-speed transmission, and I have done a test comparing these engines in the past. I think I used the Chevy Colorado with the Turbo Max, which is what this is here. Now let's talk about that 2.7 liter V6. If you were to option your truck with that twin turbo V6, it would cost you an additional $2,200 rounded off. I think it's like $2,100 and some change. Now, you guys heard earlier that GMC costs right out of the gate $3,835 more, right? So in essence, if you're not worried about price, then this truck wins hands down because it still comes in cheaper with the V6. Now, if that engine was optioned here, it would be no contest, and here's why. It has 315 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. Now, I know that the torque is not as high as that GMC, but what you have to understand is this. This engine still uses, or I'm talking about the V6, it's still 87 octane, and it's also port and direct injection. Both of these engines here are just direct injection, which personally I would like to see port and direct. Something worth noting about the drivetrain. On the Ford Ranger, it does come standard in 2-wheel drive for the Lariat. On the Denali Canyon, you only can get 4-wheel drive, so just keep that in mind, okay? Now let's talk about this interior, starting with the Ford. This is a roller coaster because they both have great advantages that the other truck does not have. Now, as far as the door card goes, when you get a Lariat, you get all this soft touch here, here, and then of course down below here. Now, you're gonna have auto up and down for the front windows, and then you have to hold it for the rear. Power folding outside glass on both sides, and then you have 3 seat memories. Let's check out that GMC. This truly is the most luxurious interior in the midsize pickup. Now, I haven't seen the Toyota Tacoma yet, but for right now, this is the most luxurious. I love the diamond stitch leather that they give you right here. All this is going to be soft touch. And then check out the wood trimming. This feels porous too. You can feel that. So it feels like real wood trim. And then they give you this like satin finish behind it. 2 settings for seat memory, so Ford does have the advantage with 3, and you only have auto up and down for the driver's side, but auto down for everything else. No power folding outside mirrors. Now, I didn't mention this, but both trucks do have blind spot monitoring, so just keep that in mind. You have more of that satin finish here, but all this is hard plastic, and that is truly a letdown on a $51,000 pickup truck. Now, it makes up for it. You guys saw this like caramel looking color, brown. They also have it piped around the seat with the stitching, and you have perforated leather, which breathes so much better. It's probably gonna be about 105 degrees today, and my back lately, I have to bring a towel with me to wipe my back down because I've been sweating down my back. More diamond stitch leather there, and just more accents on the seat. So when it's all said and done, GMC cleaned up on the seats for sure, and these are 10-way. Here are the seats for the Ranger. They do not have that perforated leather, so you're going to sweat a lot more in these hotter climates. But I do love the bowstring better, and I feel like these seats hug me so much better. Neither truck has tilt headrests. They both have a tilt and telescoping steering wheel, but one advantage on the Ranger Lariat is they do give you that soft touch on the dash. Now I know some people will be like, that's not a big deal, but it does dress up the interior for sure. Now stepping inside, check out where they put the stop start button at. It's right here. Not my favorite area for that, but here are some of the buttons on the steering wheel. And let's go through this screen really quickly. So if you hit this button here, actually you have to clear that screen. If you hit that button, it'll take you to this menu. Now on the Ranger, they do have a nice layout for the most part. I like that they give you a lot of the nice features that most manufacturers are giving you. However, they don't have like a screen for like your temperatures, and that's just something nice to have. They also don't have heads-up display. And you guys see that roof? They give you a two-tone interior. Inside the GMC, I do like the placement of the stop start button a little bit better. You also have that heads-up display, but as I said earlier, there's way more hard plastic inside this truck. Now the seats don't hug you as nice as those Fords do, but you also have ventilated front seats. That's not available for the Lariat highest trim from Ford, which I'm shocked by, but it is what it is. Both trucks are gonna have dual climate control. And you guys see that roof? I know that it gets hotter, but make no mistake about it, I think that lighter color roofs on black interior looks terrible. And on this truck here, this one does have the heated steering wheel, and that truck across is gonna have the same thing with heated seats. And obviously this truck has that too. But as I said earlier, you have these temperatures that you can look at. So your coolant temperature is right there. You also have your transmission temperature, oil pressure, and then oil temperature. Now, as far as this screen goes, you do have just this button that pretty much takes you through each menu. And I like this a lot better. You also have navigation for full screen. Also, you have like this off-road page. And if you want, you can move stuff from this screen to the driver display. And that's where I think GM has been winning right now. This is even better than the HD trucks that they have out currently. Now they do have this button down below, which is exclusive for this truck, that puts all the windows down like that. So if it's really hot and you need to air out the truck, that would be nice. Now, if you look back, that glass is manually operated. So you have to go back there and open it and close it. On the Ford, it's power. And I don't know why some manufacturers will cheap out in some spots versus others. Now I don't know if you guys saw the placement of the air vents. They are lower on the GMC. I do like these a lot better, and I feel like the air gets cooler in this truck a lot better too. So maybe that'll make up for not having ventilated seats. Now you have a wireless charger down here. The GMC also has that. I do like the gear selector a little bit better on the Fords. Now if you put it in reverse, I'm not a fan of these cameras, guys. This is too small, and that's what happens when you have a vertical screen. Like, it just doesn't work with the camera systems on the truck. Now you can zoom in if you are hooking up to a trailer, and they do have other camera views that you can see, like this one here. Okay, GM's camera system is so much better because it's horizontal, but they also have these underbody cameras, which is a game over, hands down. But your dual climate controls down there, this is just a little bit more basic. And even like when you consider the rest of the interior, this is not as nice as the GMC at all. Electronic parking brake is right there for both trucks. They have that. And as I said earlier, you do have electronic locker out back, and it is on the screen right there. And this is going to be your trail cruise control if you want to keep it simple. And that's inside the screen too. Now, you don't have a button for that GMC Canyon for the locker because it's automatic. Now on the Ford, you do have multiple drive modes. So you have normal, eco, sport, tow haul, slippery, mud ruts, sand, and that's pretty much it. And it does not have 4-wheel drive automatic. On the GMC, you do have 4 auto right there, okay? Now, if you want to see your drive modes, here they are. You have, it starts off with normal, off-road, tow haul, terrain, and that's it. There is no eco mode, which I would like to see, and I think that it's worth it to have, especially with a turbocharged engine. Hopefully they do reduce the boost for you, because I bet you most people buying these trucks are going to get worse fuel economy. 2 USBs, you guys see the gear selector right there. It's just a little bit, I don't know, this takes up more space right there, I guess. And then this is a removable tray. Now on this side, there is no storage on the very top, but you have a really nice design, and then glove box is down below. This is going to be an 8-way seat on the passenger side with lumbar. Ford 2 has an 8-way passenger seat. However, on the very top, they do provide a little bit extra storage here, and I like that. And this is wrapped in leather, and then the glove box is just a little bit bigger in my opinion. Definitely looks bigger for sure. And then lastly, here is the center console storage with a 12-volt power plug. Now as far as space goes, here's the Ford Ranger in the second row versus clearly the Ford Ranger has more space out back. I pushed both seats back. Now for the GMC, you have a 60/40 bench. Now here's some of the storage on this side, and here it is on the driver's side. So not much space. It's mostly for like the tools for your tire change. There is an armrest right here, okay, and you have air vents, 2 USBs, and you have a 120-volt plug. You can also drop these down for more visibility out that back window too, and more diamond stitching on the seats, perforated leather out back, but they do dress down the rear door just a little bit. For the Ford, you do not have a 60/40 bench, which is very disappointing at this price point. A little bit of storage below the seat, however. And there's a hump on both sides. See, I'm not sure if you guys notice. Armrest out back is right here. And if you want to drop these headrests down, you can't. They are fixed. Storage above, so no air vents out back. 2 USBs, and you have 120-volt power plug. Now both trucks did have seat back pockets on both seats. Let's go ahead and check out the payload for both trucks. And by the way, they do cheap it up in the back seats too. So here are the numbers on the door. Gross axle rating up front is going to be 3,130 pounds. The rear is 3,573 pounds. And then gross fuel weight rating is going to be 6,170 pounds. 18 by 7.5 wide wheels. All in payload is 1,520 pounds. The GMC has a gross axle rating up front at 3,500 pounds. The rear is 3,600 pounds. And gross fuel weight rating is going to be 6,250 pounds. 20 by 9 wide wheels, and payload is 1,338 pounds. Now that's not a surprise because this truck does have 20-inch wheels, a little bit bigger tires, spray and bed liners there. And the Fords, I'm not sure, do the Rangers have aluminum bodies? I can never remember if they do that for all their trucks, but I don't know. Which truck did you guys like better? Originally, because of all the reviews I've done on the Ford Ranger, I actually like the Ford Ranger better, but seeing them in person side by side, that GMC looks so much bigger. It really does. Now, hopefully if I ever get lucky, I can compare the AT4X and the Raptor together. That would be awesome, but that's just a pipe dream right now because those trucks are super hard to find in most cases. But I hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Leave a comment below. See you guys soon.